All right, all right. Um, I'm gonna give everybody like 30 seconds or so just to get a notification that the stream has went live. Hey, how you doing, Mac? Um, I've been planning on doing a stream for the past 3 days now. And I actually was not even gonna do one tonight, but I was sitting there, I was watching, just a couple videos they had in the watch later. And then I, ran out of anything interesting to watch. I was like, you know what? Shit, why not? Why not just go live for an hour? You know what I'm saying? Already postponed it by 3 days, right? May as well just go live for an hour. Um, Private Judah, how's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. Um, but yeah, just had a couple of subjects on my mind, from the last handful of days. And I am out here outside, so excuse the critters in the background if you can hear them. It's quite loud out here, but I don't know if the phone will pick it up. Hopefully not. But hell, I used to live down in Florida, right? I used to live like literally behind my house. There used to be like a man-made pond back there. Like, I mean, enormous pond, right? Millions and millions of gallons of water, to fill this man-made pond up, right? It used to be, alligators in there, bass, fish, mosquito breeding grounds, and shit like that in there, right? Snakes, anything you can think of, down in Florida. But, the noise I hear behind me with all these critters, it reminds me of when I used to live in Florida, that lake back there. You would hear this noise constantly when you went outside at nighttime. Now, here there's really not much, streams or lakes. Well, technically there is, but not where I'm at right now. But, but yeah, just remind me of that. But anyway, one thing that I wanted to talk about is recently I found this YouTube channel, and it's like a Catholic group. The name of their channel, if you want to look it up, it's called Catholics for Choice, is the name of this group. Right, their YouTube channel is named Catholics for Choice, and if you couldn't tell by the name, what it essentially is it's a group of Catholics that they hold the view that everybody should be openly accepting of one, abortion, and then two, other people that might have like rainbow people. I got to use code language on YouTube, right? But people that are rainbow individuals, and cross dressers and stuff like that. That we as true Christians, we should all be openly accepting of this, and shouldn't criticize it at all. I found this strange. It's like, wow, so here it is. There's literally a Catholic group that not only do they accept people like this, like, say, for instance, some churches might disagree with it, but it's not like they're gonna, turn those people away if they want to go to the church, right? But this group, they actually go out of their way to hold like rallies in support of this idea. Like, it's a good thing that should be increasing, right? The support for it should be increasing, is basically their view on it, right? So they think that it's perfectly fine and moral for a woman to get a abortion, right? And again, this is a Catholic group here. This is not just some type of pro-rights American group. This is a so-called Christian Catholic group here, right? And when I was watching a couple of their videos, which are short, most of them are like maybe 15, 20 minutes, I was just amazed at what I was seeing. Like, there was even one video where like one of their leaders in their group, they went in front of like what was it? They went in front of the Supreme Court, and they did like a a demonstration there, right, where they would, speak what's on their mind and say, well, why we all gotta, come together and be in support of this, freedom of choice to get abortions, right? I was just thinking to myself, it's like, wow, this is strange. So here it is, a group of Catholics is going around supporting abortion rights. It's like, don't you guys know that the Bible considers unborn children to be like living beings? Like, I'll give an example. In Jeremiah, what is that, 1:5? Not Christ, God, excuse me, God told Jeremiah that before you came out of the womb, I knew you, right? Meaning what? When he was still in his mother's womb, God already knew him and ordained him to be a prophet unto the nations. That's what it says. Then a whole other one, and this is the nail in the coffin on this whole abortion thing, is if when you go to the law in like Exodus 21, start at 22 on down, talks about how if a man strives and hurt a woman with child, that her fruit depart from her, then you shall give life for life. Right, read that yourself. Exodus chapter 21 and verse 22 on down. Right, talks about a woman with an unborn child, and a man hurts the child in her stomach, that he's supposed to be killed for it. Right, you give life for life. That's what the Bible says. So wait a second. Hold on. So if the Bible's saying that you kill a woman's unborn child, that your life's supposed to be taken because that's considered murder, obviously it's because that child in there is a human, right? It's a person. So God considers that to be immoral to take that child's life. So again, regardless if you do that and just call it, medical treatment or whatever, God still considers it to be wrong. And that clearly shows that God considers, unborn children as people, right? He considers them to be alive. Otherwise, that man who did that to that woman would not have gotten such a severe judgment if that was not the case. And notice it says, when you read it, it says, thou shalt give life for life. Wait, give life for life? I thought the unborn child didn't have life, apparently. Right? Like it wasn't conscious yet, it wasn't alive, according to these numbskulls out here that are in support of this abortion rights and nonsense like that, right? And again, you see these people everywhere. Like the whole thing that's been going on the last couple of years, I believe it's called Roe versus Wade or something like that. Again, I don't keep up with all this stuff, but I know about it because you see it recommended on the internet, like stories or articles about it. Again, a lot of the people that bear with me a second. A lot of the people who are in support of that type of stuff, they don't consider themselves to be Christians or stuff like that. It's mainly just like regular simps in the world. They don't really know much about nothing and just repeat these political terms because they don't know any better. But I just thought it was pretty funny how there's a Christian group, right, a religious group out here, that if you go on their page, once again, Catholics for choice, if you go to their page, all they talk about is spreading abortion rights. I mean, come on, that again, it's crazy at this point. Yo, Jay, are you able to hear me, man? I see you joined from backstage.
Yeah, I was on the StreamYard. I seen it was live. What's up, man? What's going on?
And not too much, man. I just had an hour of time for me tonight, so I figured I'd hop on for a little bit. How you been doing?
Uh, Doing all right, man. Doing all right. Just chilling. What's going on?
And not a whole lot, man. I was just talking about this one group. I don't know if I showed you, like I might have sent you a picture of it. It's this group on YouTube. They call themselves Catholics for Choice. You heard of them?
Is that gay Catholic page that you sent like 5 days ago?
Um, it might have been that one. I know there's a lot of them that go under that rainbow term, but this one, what they do is not only are they in support of abortion, they're also in support of, rainbow rights and stuff like that. So it might be them.
Yeah, I think so. They like when you click on the page, there's like this. They look like well, we'll call it a lesbian, but it looks like a priest, and they're kind of like butch.
Yeah, yeah, that's them.
Oh, okay, yeah, I seen that one.
Yeah, man, it's I was just on here ranting about that. It's strange to me how here it is you got these religious groups popping up that are in support of these things which the religious books clearly teach against. It's laughable to me.
Well, coming. Well, here's my thing, man. I just put my own kind of 2 cents into a situation like that. Um, I'm of the mindset that there are. I'm of the mindset that the law only pertains to a certain amount of people, and it doesn't fully enwrap the entirety of the world. Like like the Hebrew roots movement, the Christians that
Right,
keep the
right.
law, like they try to they act like Jews or Israelites, but it could be like an Asian guy and he'll grow out his beard and not eat pork, or like
Yeah,
it,
I hear what you're saying.
okay, like that one guy. Remember we brought him on and like about 2 years ago, and he's talking about polygamy. He's saying that I forgot his name, but
You
he's a
talking
white guy.
about
Yeah, he
yeah, you
had
talking
curly hair.
yeah, his name yeah, you talk about end time watchmen.
Yeah, yeah, some of those guys like that. Um, like they keep the law, but they're not Jews or Israelites, so it don't really matter. I mean, like, because it's not for them. I'm of the mindset like if you're of that group, you know, um, cool, like keep it. But I don't think really it applies to everybody. You know,
I hear what
I
you're
don't I
saying,
don't
but
think like if they do that, it doesn't bother me. Like it's not really that big of a deal.
here's the problem I got with it, right? Like, say for instance, like let's give a hypothetical. Like, what if somebody went around that went under the name of Bible believer, and then they said that the Bible is in support of rainbow marriage. Now, obviously, you read in the text, we see it. That's not the case, right? So with
Right.
this group going around under the again, they wave the Bible around like they're in support of what it teaches. But yeah, here it is. They're going around teaching that the Bible's in support with abortion and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
they're
that's
just going
clearly
off.
just by reading it. Yeah, clearly they're going off, and that's what I was calling them out for. That they're clearly in error just by simple reading of the text.
No, yeah, I agree.
Like again, if like say for instance, if they want to go around and teach that, they can do that, right? Like it doesn't affect me what they teach. However, for edification of the masses that might listen to them, it should be brought out that clearly just going off of simple verses, it clearly refutes what they're going out there saying. Like same thing with say for instance about how
I'll
the
be right
churches
back,
teach.
brother. I
Yeah,
gotta.
go ahead, take your time. Like same thing. I'll give another example. Like if somebody went around and was saying that, like say Isaiah 14 is talking about like Satan or something like that. I mean, hey, look, they can go around and say that, but the fact is, once you get into the wording and the context of what's being talked about, we find out that that's not actually what it's talking about just by reading the chapter in context, right? So again, the groups like the Catholics for Choice and stuff like that. Again, some people might be there saying, "Oh, they're just standing up for people's rights," but by people who actually read and study the scriptures, we can tell that these people are obviously in error, and it's very easy to demonstrate that. Right? It's not difficult at all. Once you start simply just reading it, and that's what a lot of people problem is they don't like to read. Matter of fact, here's a fun fact for the audience. Most of the adult population in the United States, I want to say maybe what, 60, 70%, if not more, have not even read one book in the last 12 months, let alone even picked up a book and read a couple chapters out of it. Again, you can fact check this, right? But it's that's sad to think about, right? That's a sad fact right there. So again, a lot of people are not, book smart out here, I guess we could call it. Hey, how you doing, Rudy? Ironically, it looks like I'm just looking at my notifications real quick. Looks like Deacon's doing a live stream right now. That's not common at like, what is it, like almost 12 in the morning here. Um, so that's odd that he's doing a stream this late. I see Perry's live as well, among a few other people. But I just got that notification. But yeah, it's strange at times that we're living in today, how here it is, there's all these groups popping up that are literally teaching against what the Bible says. Like, I'll give an example. There was somebody earlier who left a comment on the video I did about the sicarii, maybe a week or two ago, something like that. And the guy was on there saying, oh, those sicarii guys, they're clearly going off. They believe in this. He used some type of like, what's the word I'm looking for? He basically did like a jab at Christ, right? He was like mocking Christ, saying, this guy that died on like a stick or something like that. He did it in like a menacing way to try to like make fun of Christ, but then he quoted from the Old Testament, right, and said that Sicarii was going against the Old Testament. And I called him out. I was like, wait a second, wait. Hey, if you don't like Sicarii, that's all cool and whatnot. But wait, so you're gonna sit here and believe in the Old Testament and the God of the Old Testament, but you're gonna sit here and like make fun of Christ on the cross? I mean, like what? That's shit. At that point, you may as well throw away the whole book if you're going to throw out half the book, right? I mean, these people out here are just, these people out here don't really know what the hell is going on. That's just a good way to describe the population. And then, it's not only over here in America. Got people like this, all over the world, right? You see nonsense like this, springing up all over the world, right? That's why, say, for instance, if you keep up with like, um, the news week to week, around the world, there's always like a new country, like over in Africa or Asia, that's now openly accepting of rainbow marriage and nonsense like that. Got gay pastors over there. Countries accepting abortion or other things that the Bible speaks against, right? They openly accept some of these things in countries over in Asia, right? And it's a new thing. And why is that? Because a lot of these countries get inspiration from the United States, so they want to follow after the customs and the ideologies of the United States. Ronan's in the comments. Sure, is that the same Ronan that always calls into Deacon's live streams? Yeah, I haven't saw that guy around here in a long time. But whenever I watch one of Deacon's videos, when they put a link out for people to join, Ronan always calls in, and he's always under like the underpass or something, so it's hard to hear, the conversation because there's always vehicles, going overhead and whatnot. But hey, how you doing, Ronan? But it's funny, he always uses like a third party name, right? A random name, but they can always tell that it's him because of how he talks. It's an inside joke. Hey, how you doing, Base Stroofer? We'll see, Ronan. Maybe I'll let you on for a little bit, but just a heads up, I'm only going for an hour tonight because I'm strapped for time. again, due to unfortunate circumstances, right? Again, I have unfortunate circumstances that I have to, have to abide by right now. So again, I do what I can with the, with what I have available to me. Excuse me. That's just how you got to look at certain things. All right. Um, all right. I'll put a link in the chat. But just a heads up, everybody's only coming on for like 20 minutes or so. As I anticipated on just a solo stream tonight, but it's all cool. So I'll put that in the chat if he wants to hop up. Haven't seen Base Truther around in a while. Rudy, I only put it out there for Ronin right now. We'll leave the overlay on for a little bit because you always have people going around, making fake accounts, and shit like that. It was funny. One time I was trying to get onto this guy. I believe his channel's name like the Stoner Hours or something like that. Just a channel that does like live streams. And I tried to get on. They put a link in the chat. I clicked it, and I have the icon with my hat. And they said, "Oh, it doesn't look like a real person." Then I turned my video on so they can see I'm a real person. And then I literally grabbed the hat because they said that's not enough. So I grabbed my hat so they can see I have the same hat that my icon picture has. Still don't let me on. I was thinking, it's like, shit, well, why don't you guys just put an overlay on so you can let me on, but I can't put anything on the screen so you can see that I'm a real person before take the overlay down, right? And they still won't do that. Again, a lot of people out here are just, over paranoid for some reason, right? They're, severely paranoid for whatever reason it is. Again, it's disgraceful how certain people are, out here these days, man. Soon, Rudy. Again, it's difficult right now to do them, so I do what I can with what I got, man. But soon. Like, I know in the past we used to be able to do, streams for for 8 hours, the hell even longer at times, right? But over the course of some time, some changes have to come in, which sometimes that's unfortunate, but it's how it works over the course of time, right? Again, I've been on this platform, making content for 8 years, right? Since like 2016 I've been on here, right? But only a couple of years out of that, maybe like 3 4 years, yeah, like 4 years or so, I've been using the live stream feature, right? But didn't really use it before that, just record stuff and upload it. But for the past 4 years or so, I've been using the live feature, and I prefer that because it's in my opinion, it's interesting using it. Good to interact with other people. I see somebody in the comments here. I'll let them on. Yo, can you hear us?
Yo, ETT, what's up, bro?
What's up? Who is this?
Hey, man, this is Az.
Where have we met before? We talked before?
Probably about a year or so ago. But I was just
On
listening
stream?
into the conversation.
Was this Ronan?
What?
Are you Ronan?
That's not my name.
All right, cool. Go ahead. You can continue. My bad.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, that's not what my mom calls me or whatever. But anyways, like, bro, I was just listening into the conversation. I wanted to speak about something before. You were talking about all these camps are popping up with all these strange doctrines. But for right now, I want to sit in the back seat, and I just want to listen. And if I can, I would like to chime in.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this, man, because again, I only have a limited time tonight. But I'm sure you've been seeing what's going on over the past week, almost two now, with this whole, sicarii, breakup situation, right? Hell, a lot of people are getting, in a damn pissy fit over that, right? Seeing their, favorite camp, split apart. And it's ironic because as the Kari, they were saying like a year and a half ago that they think the Lord's going to he's going to split, excuse me, he's going to split GMS up. But then lo and behold, it turns out that the Sakari camp was the one who got, split up. So I mean, that's karma right there, if I could say so for myself.
Yeah, the Lord rendered it back onto their own head. But here's the thing, though, right? Let's be fair. This is nothing new.
I agree. It's
We
not
we
anything
we
new.
see
The
this.
camps
We see
break up
this.
all the time.
Yeah, we see this going all the way back during the time of the apostles
That's
with
correct.
Barnabas and Paul.
Right.
So let's not. What we need to do is, um, we need to be here to strengthen our brothers, not destroy them.
Right. I
Um,
agree with you on
GMS
that.
GMS split because of Alice. Many people left GMS, and here's the thing, right? We can find videos of our beloved elder Apostle Tahar, talking about Jesus Christ, Yahushai, in the Paleo Hebrew. Uh, we see him saying that he's going to return in the year 2000. That
Yeah, I've
never
seen
happened,
that. I've seen that.
right? But they got 100% truth.
Right. And again, I once again, I think you're jumping the gun here because I agree with you that they don't have 100% truth. Like I think not to cast stones at you or anything, but I think you fault that I was like, oh, 100% for GMS. It's like, no, I call GMS out on things all the time. But I was just simply saying it's a little funny how, this Akari was sitting there saying, oh, well, GMS is going to break up. But then lo and behold, in a year's time, their own camp broke up when they were saying this about the other one. That's pretty funny. But I agree with you that GMS, why I do say that GMS is the most respectable camp among the One West, and I've said that for years, but that doesn't mean they have 100% truth. So I would be in agreement with you on that there's certainly some errors that camp is teaching. That's correct.
And you know what? I think that this is because we agree. The scriptures, Proverbs 20, 21, it says that man's goings are of the Lord. How then can a man understand his own way? The point in me bringing that up is that even when we look at the beginning of the gospel, we see zealots following after Jesus Christ, Yahushai. We see Paul and Barnabas splitting up. We see Peter getting rebuked by Paul. Um, Here's the thing, right? Even when it comes to the Dead Sea Scrolls, if it wasn't for people breaking off, we wouldn't even have the records necessarily. So how I look at it is that Jesus Christ, Yahushai, and I say Jesus Christ because there might be people who don't like, I mean, they don't know, but I'm just going to say, like, Jesus Christ, we call him Yahushai. He is the root, and ye are the branches. Now, the roots, you have a trunk, right? The trunk is one, but when you move up into the branches, they break off. So if you chop off, and this is what we understand according to the prophet, that Esau will target the woman. She will target, Esau will target those who keep the commandments of God and the testimony of Yahushua. At some point, Esau will target us if he hasn't already. And Esau may be able to cut off one branch, but he will not be able to cut off all branches.
Yeah, you're right. You're right on that.
So how I'm looking at this, we have to look at this as men who have eyesight, who understand the scriptures, that these things are beneficial to us. I look at splinter groups. I actually like it when people splinter off, because in a way what it shows is that every man has to give an account for his own. Every man is going to have to prove his own work. So the problem is if we have one branch and it all hinges upon Ariyah, and that one branch gets broken, now the whole tree is destroyed. But if we have multiple branches, the tree can still live. So you can cut off this branch, you can cut off sicarii, you can cut off GMS, you can cut off IUIC, GOCC, WFI. You can cut off these camps, but guess what? The tree is still going to grow. The tree will still grow because every man is proving what's happening is right now they're being, in my opinion, they're being like Bereans. They're doing everybody's trying to understand this for themselves. But the roots which are deep across, even though Paul and Barnabas separated, they still have the same root. They come back to the same root. You cannot destroy the roots. So you can cut off a branch, but you can't destroy the root. And I think this is why the Father did this. Again, I go back to the Dead Sea Scrolls. The Essenes who preserved the scriptures, who preserved the records that we have today, right, that were unearthed. They were not necessarily the disciples of Jesus Christ, Yahushua. They didn't follow the sect of the Zealots. The scholars say that they were probably a different sect. They were like Essenes. But guess what? Because of that branch, we have the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. And again, like say for instance, I'm not sitting here saying it's a good thing that this group broke up or a bad thing. I'm just covering the, weekly news about what's happening. You get what I'm saying? But again, I've seen that. Since again, I'm subscribed to the Deacon and Hassad, and they already came up with their new group. I believe they're going to call it the Genesis Israelites, is the name of the group that they have. So again, I can give them a certain level of respect that, it's not like they just left and now they're going to be, wicked, sinners in the world and reject the Bible. They're actually going to go out and continue to teach and wake people up. So that's a good thing. I can give them respect for that, because a lot of people, when they leave a camp or something like that, most of the time they end up within a year or so just leaving the identity of being an Israelite or even believing in the Bible altogether. Again, I've seen it all throughout the years, So again, I can give them a certain level of credit that they're not leaving the truth, but they're, forming their own group and continuing to do it. So I can give them
Which
credit
are the
on
branches?
that. Go ahead.
Well, because like I said, I think that is the reason why this happened. Do you believe in predestination?
Oh, I mean, I think you already know that because you watched their stuff before. I subscribe to that predestination.
So then this was ordained by the Lord.
Right.
And
Again, Ronan, I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't know what the disagreement is here. I'm agreeing that God did this for a reason. I don't recall when I disagree with that.
Okay. So outside of that, okay, so you've seen what happened. Now my question to you is what's next?
What's next? You talking about for that group or
I'm
for what
speaking
in
for
general?
you. I'm speaking for this channel. We can we okay, they split up. Okay. Now that we understand that they split up, what does that mean?
What does that mean? Well, it means that they're no longer part of that group. It doesn't mean that they're not men of the Lord, but it means that they're not under that group that they said they would always be a part of. They split off and did their own thing, which again, it's not the end of the world because they're still going out and doing the right thing by teaching people.
Okay. What's up, Jay?
Howdy. What's going on?
I mean, I just joined the panel. I was trying to take a back seat. I just saw that you joined. I just want to say hello, and it's nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too, man. What do I call you?
You can call me Az. Whatever's on the screen. I wish just people just whatever you see on the screen, you can just refer to me as that, man.
Hey,
I
Roman.
wasn't
Okay,
sure to how to refer to that.
all right, Az, can I ask you a question? Did you join our streams when Minus Reg used to be around?
The East Indian, the Elamite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was there. What happened to him? What
Yeah, I
happened to him?
figured that was. Oh man, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, the long story short, what happened to him was he'd been saying that Christ was going to return by such and such date over months. It didn't happen. Then he said by like January 1st, 2023. And if that didn't happen, then he would leave YouTube and not teach anymore. And it didn't happen, so he left YouTube and hasn't been on uploading or joining streams for the past almost 2 years.
And you know what? At least that we understand that he is a man of his own, a man of his word. That's number one,
Right.
right? Because Esau is not a man of his word. This man is a man of his word. Now, the second thing that I will say on this is all manner of sin shall be forgiven man. Now, my question to the panel would be, does that include false prophecies? Will false prophecies be forgiven? Because here's the thing, right? If we're going to hold this Elamite to that level of scrutiny, then we need to hold Apostle Tahar.
Well. Here, wait a second.
Apostle Tahar, by all means, would fit
All right.
that same category.
Hold on,
and
Ronan.
The brother from the Elamite, they
Az,
both said
chill
the
out
same
for.
thing.
Oh,
Just chill out for a second.
this is Ronan from the live chats.
Yeah. Well, let
I
me
want to ask you a question. Why do people call me that?
wait. Because that's the panel name that you have. Like say for instance.
What wasn't that your channel name?
Hold on. Look, it's right here in the YouTube comments. It says Ronan.
Yeah. I've seen this channel before.
Okay, but let me just clarify on his question real quick. Nobody on here ever condemned the Minus Shareg and said he's absolutely, as Christian would say, going to hell or not going to make it. I think that he was a sincere man. I believe that, but it's up to God to judge at the end of the day. So again, I think you got that mistaken that we were like automatically condemned him for forever or something like that, when that's absolutely not the case. In fact, we said many times before that we wish he was here on the streams with us because the streams are not the same without him. It's like we lost a friend.
But he made like an oath, like the scriptures say, don't do that. That's why the Jesus
and again, Ronan, I just want to clarify real quick. Everything you're saying, I have already addressed 100 times. I said that he was absolutely wrong with going out there making these predictions. I said this 150 times that he should not be doing that, and I warned him back years ago that, hey man, you should really consider that, hey, the Bible says nobody knows that day or that hour, nobody knows the season and the week and day it's going to happen. So you shouldn't be going around, putting these dates and all this on it. We warned him many times, and he didn't want to take heed to that warning. So again, everything you're saying, we've already, expressed on 100 times over, just to clarify.
Well, you know what? If you're listening, brother, I remember you. Um, I remember the scriptures in the time in the Pentecost, Acts chapter 2. It says that they were devout Jews out of every nation. And then it went down the list. People of Mesopotamia. Then it specifically said the Elamites, right? Our people are scattered. So listen, bro, if you're listening, you can always get forgiveness for false prophecy. You don't want to die being a false prophet, but there is forgiveness for you, and the Lord can choose you to speak His word. Because here's the thing: what's so crazy is the number one most respectable camp, which would be GMS. I would have to just keep it 100. GMS. Even the top apostles, even the men who they got their breakdowns from, the men who they got their breakdowns from, one man in particular, he's not in the truth, right? And even the leader of GMS, he's a false prophet just like you, in the sense that both you and him tried to give a date when the Messiah would return, when novices, this is what we learn, the milk, we understand that no man knows the hour. So if Apostle Tahar can be forgiven for that, best believe, brother, you can be forgiven for that.
Right, I agree with you. He could certainly, change that and acknowledge that he was, incorrect on that, and stop, going around and saying that, putting these predictions out. He could definitely change on that. And hell, we hope to see him, back in the future, um, and all that.
How long has
It's
he
going
been?
on
Like
about
3 years now?
2 years about.
It's been 2 years, bro.
I think it
Yeah,
feels like it's been over about 2 years.
Dude,
it
it
feels
feels like
like
it's
that,
only
but
been a
I've been
year. It feels like
like,
it's only
say, wait, hold on. Say, for instance, Jay, like literally what, a week or two after Servant died. So he died 2 years ago. So that's how we can keep track of when Shareg left. So it's about 2 years now.
Oh yeah, that's right. Good servant died. I forgot about that. I was supposed to meet up with him. He lives like 15
So
minutes away
so
from me.
me and him were planning on doing a stream like a week or two after, but unfortunately he passed away. Otherwise, we were going to do a stream together.
Yeah, good
was this
servant.
an older gentleman?
No, he's like maybe in his early 30s. You wouldn't know him. You
He
wouldn't
was,
know who we're
I think he
talking
was
about.
about 40, late 30s, early 40s.
Uh
Yeah, you
by a
wouldn't know who we're
car,
talking about.
hit by a car, or
No,
He
I
had
think
like an
he,
overdose or something.
yeah, he relapsed. I believe that's the story.
see, that's why us brothers, like you brothers, should have been there, man. You
Well,
know?
again, bro, you're Ronan. Don't chime in on this because you don't know the situation that we're talking about. This is you don't have a piece to put on the plate here, for lack of better
You're
words,
right, man.
bro.
You're
Because
right, bro.
this is a situation that you don't know about. You get
You're
what I'm
right.
saying? Again, not
I
trying to be
apologize.
rude, but I'm just saying
Forgive
you
me.
don't know any of the situation that we're referring to. That's all.
Yeah, I apologize, bro. I'm
And
speaking
again,
on my
we talked to this dude, which, by the way, he was a Christian. He was against the Hebrew Israelites, but we still talked to this guy. I even had his own personal phone number. We've had the conversations before, like outside of YouTube in private. He was a cool guy. He was a cool dude. Shrek didn't like him, but me and Servant always got along. Even though he held different views, we were still able to, um, have friendly conversations at the end of the day.
Hey man, I'm sorry, bro. Please forgive me, bro.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm just it just sucks, bro. That's it just that I mean, it just sucks, bro.
Yeah, it's definitely unfortunate what happened to him. Again, what's funny to me is I asked one of his friends, I believe her name is Tammy or something like that. I
No,
asked him,
what's her name? That white woman with the blonde hair. Um,
wasn't
that's who
her
you're
name
talking about.
Tammy?
No, it's not Tammy. That's another woman, but she kind of
All right. Well,
you
for
get
argument's
confused
sake,
with two people.
let's just give a
What's her?
hypothetical and say her name was Tammy because they don't remember the name. So I asked her, well, what happened to Servant? Me and him, chatted, and all that. What happened to him? And they didn't want to tell me. Right? They didn't want to tell me. It's like, what the hell? Like, why would you not tell me what happened to this dude who me and him knew each other and talked on the phone and did streams together? I think I have a right to know what happened to this guy that he passed away. Like I don't get why that's like some
She
type of
took a
secretive information.
she took offense to it. She was in love with him,
Yeah, that
and she was drunk too, though, when she was talking about that.
yeah, I could tell.
It's the only times that she came on the back. Her name starts with an F. I'm trying to think what it is though.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I'm bad at remembering names, honestly.
Yeah, I can't even think of it at the moment. I want to say
But yo,
Francine.
Ronan, or Az, I have a question for you, man. Every time you called into Deacon stream, there always loud noise in the background. Were you always outside or something, man?
When? I mean, possibly. I
I
mean,
mean, many times, like say a
sometimes
year
I'm
ago.
out and about. Sometimes I'm out and about.
It sounds like you'd buy a damn racetrack, or underpass every time you call in, man. Can barely hear what's going on.
Oh, my
That
apologies.
damn NASCAR race. Now you're good. I was just asking because I was curious. Because again, man, it sounds like every time you called in, you're at like a damn NASCAR race. It's difficult to hear what was going on.
Nah, sometimes I was just moving. But nah, man. I mean, the reason what's so fucked up. Excuse. I'm sorry.
You're good.
What's so crazy is like, um, they think that I'm there just to like troll. But
Yeah, I know. I noticed that they. What's funny, man? They think a lot of people are like that. Like people who ask sincere questions that might be, against what they teach, but asking sincerely, not trying to, throw jabs or anything. They'll even condemn them like they're some type of like, agent or somebody trying to mess around and just be funny. When in reality, they're just asking real questions. I agree with you. When I watch Huge called in there, it definitely sounds like most of the time that you're just asking sincere questions, and instead of answering, they just want to like make it into like some type of like funny audience thing that the crowd can laugh at. You know what I'm saying? I noticed they try
yeah,
to do that
man,
when you
and
call
that's
in.
not cool because you know how I take that. When you ask a genuine question and they want to pass it off as a joke and they want to essentially bully you. I mean, it's essentially bullying in a way. Now, I'm not
Right.
into backbiting, right? We're not going to backbite, right? I respect them, brothers. Those guys have more works than me. When you deal with the scriptures, let's go back into the scriptures. Some the Lord gave 100-fold, some he gave 50, some he gave one, right?
Right. That's
Now,
that's a good
in
point.
this situation, let's just say in this situation, I have one talent, and all I'm trying to do in this life, I'm just trying to make it grow to two, right? A poor
Hmm.
man, it's hard for a poor person to make their wealth grow. But if you have millions of dollars, it's very easy. You can
Right.
lose you can lose $1,000 overnight, and you're not going to lose any sleep.
And
But
as
if
let me add to that real quick, not to cut you off, but even when you read the talent story, when he returned and gave them the judgment for it, the guy who got one, he gained one. The one who got 10, he gained 10, and so on with the others, and they all got rewarded for that. Even the guy that got the 10, he got rewarded just like the guy who got the one, an increase. But the one who went and hid his talent away and did nothing with it, he was the one who got punished.
and the thing is they look down upon you if you're the guy that only has one talent that try to grow it to two. When you look at the market, the stock market, you got these guys with millions of dollars, but then they look at the guy at McDonald's who took 300, and for this guy to it's harder when you ask anybody who deals with the market and deals with money. It's harder to grow 300 to 600 versus 2,000 to 4,000. It's way
Yeah.
easier. It's
It's
way
true,
easier.
man. There's a saying that I used to hear when you have to, you need money in order to make money. In order to make your money grow, you need money in order to make the money grow. And that's not easy
True.
for somebody coming up with nothing. A lot of us grew up in houses with single mother homes, or trailer park living, or shit like that. Everybody's situation is different, but a lot of us don't come from having much. So again, it's more difficult for one like us to make a million than what it would be for somebody who might have grew up in a semi wealthy or middle class home.
Hey, what's up, Jamie Russell? He says, it is the land, America becomes Babylon. It is the land beast that gives the power unto the beast that comes out of the sea and gives
Jamie,
it
you want to
power
hop up?
to
You
breathe,
want to come on here?
the life into the image of the beast. The first beast is the Roman fourth beast from Daniel 2, 7, and 8. Hey, you know what, Jamie? By all means, bro, we're here to talk about the scriptures. Please come and join. Now, to deal with what you were saying, right? It's very difficult, ETT. You said your name is Yasha. What was your name again?
Yeah, Hebrew, I call myself Yasha, but as far as my legal name,
Bro, I
Nathan.
still remembered your name, bro.
Yeah,
I
it's
still
cool you
remembered
had
your
that in your
name.
memory, man.
But anyway, all I would just say is that it's hard to grow one talent into 5 or 2 or 4. It's very
Right.
easy if you have thousands. So I just noticed that they pick on the minorities in their groups, because you have a differing perspective. And one of the questions that I have is, I'll read 2 scriptures to you, right? So speaking on the beast, and Jamie, please just hold your mic. Nice to meet you. This guy is a Christian. He believes in Middle
Yeah,
Earth.
I know him. Me and Jamie has talked before. Welcome to the stream, Jamie.
Okay, hey Jamie.
Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay,
Yep.
hey Jamie. Hey, me and my brothers, we're talking right now. So I thank you for joining, but just give me a second real quick, because I want to talk to them about some stuff that's going on within our family real quick. So basically, these are one of the things that I have an issue with, right? So when you look at Revelations 19, and I'll read it for some context. So Revelations 19 and verse 12, his eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns, and he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. That's Revelations 19. He was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. Verse 14, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. Okay. Verse 15, and out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he should smite the nations. Okay. So now let me jump to the point. The point is verse 19 and 20. It says, and I saw the beast. So in Revelation 19, according to your guys' understanding,
Are you talking to me or Jay, or are you
I'm
talking
talking
to
to our family. I'm talking to Israel. I'm talking to Israel.
Okay,
I'm talking to Israel right now, which would
go
be
ahead.
you and most likely Jay, right?
I would assume so. Yeah.
Okay. So when we're dealing with the fourth beast is Rome, correct?
Yeah,
Okay. Which is Edom, Esau, correct?
I'd say so.
Okay. Edom is not just in Europe, correct?
Right,
Correct.
there's Edom scattered around the world.
The harlot, the harlot, the harlot that rides the fourth beast, she is Edom.
Well, the way we'd respond to this, or I can't speak for Jay, but the way I'd speak for it is say that Edom today, like say for instance, Second Ezra chapter 6 verse 9, for Esau's the end of the world and Jacob's the beginning of that follows. Edom would be reigning over America, mystery Babylon, right? The most powerful nation on the earth. That's how I would answer it today. So, in modern day terms, Edom would be ruling over America, the world's most dominant empire.
So the
That's how
woman,
I would
so
respond to it.
is the woman. So in Daniel, there's no woman, but there is a horn, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the horn and the woman are the same thing.
I would have to read the whole thing in context, but most people I've seen teach it would say that they are.
Okay, that's my understanding as well. So the woman in Revelation 17, the whore that rides on the beast, that's America, the whore, the woman. So that means that that's Esau too. The whore is Esau as well.
Well, they rule over it, but the whore itself, or Babylon, is like an actual city that's reigned over. So the ones that reign over it would be Edom, but the city itself is called Babylon, or the
But
harlot.
when it says the woman, so but the woman controls the beast. The woman is riding on it like a horse. The person who sits on the
Well,
horse tells the horse which direction it's going to go.
well, let's explain it this way. You don't view that as an actual like monster. It's symbolic in meaning, correct? You would agree with me
Dude,
on
that's
that?
why I said Rome.
Okay. Well, let's say this because I want to give Jamie a chance to speak because I said earlier before he came on I only had an hour to go live today, so I'll go a little bit over, but I'll
Do you
give
have
you
to go to
2
work?
minutes just to. No, I have things I have to do that outside of YouTube. But I wasn't even going to go live tonight, but I found an hour where I was able to. But I'll do this. I'll give you 2 minutes just to form your whole like reason you brought it up and form your solution to it. I'll give you 2 minutes to do that. Then we're going to give Jamie a chance to add into the conversation.
Okay, cool. So the woman, in my understanding, is Edom. Is Edom because that is pretty much the woman that rides upon the beast, which is Europe, which is also Edom. Okay, so um, when we look at Revelation 19 and 19, it says, "And I saw the beast." So this beast is the fourth beast that Daniel mentioned. So this is talking about the kingdom of Esau, which is Rome, which would be Europe, Finland, Poland, Austria, right? And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth. The kings of the earth would symbolize people who are not a part of Esau, who are outside of this empire of Europe, but they still join him, right? The kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse, which is Jesus or Yahweh Shai, and against his army, the angels and the elect. Verse 20, and the beast, who is Edom, was taken, and with him the false prophet. I would have to say the Vatican, the Pope, that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast and them that worshipped his image. These both, so the beast, the fourth beast, which Daniel prophesied, which is Rome, the Romans, the Europeans. He took the Europeans, he took Esau, he took the beast. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. My problem is that it is the beast that creates, or it is the beast. It is Europe that destroys America, that burns her with fire. They're trying to tell me that the lake of fire are the Americas. But in Revelation 19, verse 20, it says that he takes the beast, which is Europe, the Europeans, and he casts them alive into the lake of fire.
Well,
So
the way I'd
basically, how
respond.
I understand it, according to how they break it down, if America, because I don't believe that the Americas is the lake of fire. How they break it down is that they're going to get the European, which is the beast. They're going to go to Poland. They're going to go to Lithuania. They're going to grab the beast, which is Esau. Then he's going to what? Take boats or what? He's going to beam them up and then just what? He's going to drop them off in America.
Let me respond real quick.
That don't make no sense, bro. That don't make no fucking sense.
Hold on. For the camps, the breakdown, at least I've seen from most of them, GMS, Sicarii, and others, they say that like the people in rulership, right? Like say the Pope or the kings ruling over those nations over there at that part of the world, as they'll be taken up by the angels and they'll be cast into that fire. Like say for instance, we see a similar thing in Revelation, the 14th chapter, starting at 19, right? With the people that didn't take the mark, they'd be picked up by the angels and thrown into that burning fire. So that's how the camps would respond to that. I get why you might view it differently. But for the sake of time, I want to give Jamie a chance to speak here because he's been waiting patiently. So Jamie, go ahead, man, if you got anything.
Yeah, you can take or leave what I'm saying in the chat. I'm just there's so many things I would like to a lot of things I agreed with. Although I would just say, I think when you start getting specific about particular countries, you're making a mistake only because not that it couldn't be true or that there's not a historical connection with certain countries and the development of the the 7 heads and 10 horns sort of thing, which we know what this is. Like the thing is, the reason we know it's Rome is because she kind of assumed power over the covenant that Jesus established. So it's like, is she the church? It's like, yes and no, right? It's an apostate church, but it is like the historical, like the Roman Empire, which was pagan when Jesus was on earth, was the ruling empire, which is the 4th kingdom from Daniel 2. And so that's just a fact. This establishes the validity of scripture being written beforehand, which shows us who Jesus, when Jesus would come. It's in the New Testament. They were in expectation. It says they thought John the Baptist might be the Messiah because they were expecting him at that certain time because of the book of Daniel. And so then I would say, well, if that's true, which is what Jesus died according to the scriptures, all that, right? Or whatever you want to call him. I don't care. I'm not picky about that, but I like to say Messiah usually, but so if that's true and the scripture verifies Jesus' first coming and he promised to come back, which we all agree on, then we just follow, okay, what does it say from there? Well, you go to Daniel 7, which mirrors Daniel 2, giving details about those kingdoms. And there are even some of the interpretations given. You have Babylon, which is when Daniel wrote. Then the Persians took over. Then the next kingdom was Greece. And then we know the next one was Rome. Okay, that's all true. And then we follow that into Revelation, where it picks up in Revelation 13 from Daniel 7. And I'm an Adventist, or Seventh-day Adventist, so we have a particular kind of unique view of Daniel 8, which is probably the hardest one in the Bible. I won't go into that. But I would just say, the things that we probably agree on, if you do see the papacy as Rome, the other thing I wanted to say was, which I was pretty much in agreement, is that, so if you agree that the papacy, and when you're talking about a woman, I would just say, I don't know how you guys separate the new covenant or how you think of the covenants or what Jesus did. I don't believe like evangelicals that the new covenant is fully established, right? The kingdom's coming as well in some sense, and God's going to kill his enemies. So, but if you,
not to cut you off, but just chime in on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Hebrew Israelite view is that the new covenant will be established like in heaven, heaven's gonna be on earth, but when Christ returns and establishes the kingdom, then that's what we believe it will be under the new covenant. But we'll stick to the Rome topic for now. Just a heads up. We're only going to go for like 20 minutes because I had limited time. But here's just a side note, real quick, Jamie. You would hold the view that the great city is the Vatican City, correct?
Yeah, that's the seat of that.
Okay, but just so I don't get missed. Okay, but what city on earth today is that great city? And then you'll see why I'm mentioning. It's the Vatican. Okay.
Church.
Oh, so a church is a city? I'm just want to clarify.
The Roman apostate church is in this country is the seat of the Antichrist because he opposes Jesus and his teaching.
Okay. Well, here's my question for you. So what do you think about Jonah chapter 1, verse 2? It says, "Arise, go unto Nineveh, that great city, and speak against it." So there it calls Nineveh the great city. So how would you respond to somebody who said that Nineveh was Babylon because it calls Nineveh the great city, the same that it calls Babylon?
That's a good question. So I would say if like you were to insist on that, I would say there's a sense that it's true, right? It is a city in biblical history that opposed God's teaching and belief, right? They were sinners, and God sent them a warning saying, Jonah said, hey, you got to repent, or God is going to destroy the city in 40 days. And then he doesn't. And it doesn't say, well, he'll destroy it if you don't, if you, unless you repent. It just says he's going to do it. And then it says he doesn't because they repented, which is very interesting. So I would just say God relented. Of course, they got destroyed later for their wickedness. But my point is, Nineveh is an example of those cities which didn't follow God when they were supposed to. And so when it says like Babylon, because I think it's like literally it's Rome, historically and literally it's Rome.
Right. Well, the reason why I asked you that question is because it uses this exact same wording. Like, say, for instance, you would say that when you see it talk about a woman in the Bible, that it's referring to a church, right? That's what you would say when you see it talk about a woman. So just in the same reasoning, I went to where it called Nineveh the great city, and then it calls Babylon the great city. So some could conclude that that would mean it's Nineveh because it calls them the exact same wording. You get what my point there?
Yeah, that's it. So I would say, I think you have to just be, this is kind of like an interpretive issue where I would say there's a sense that it's an example of the powers that oppose God. So in that sense, it is, but it's not saying, hey, this is literally the city. It's giving you the interpretation. It's like a type, I would say. So the word great is a very common adjective, right? Like the little horn got the powers of the kingdoms in Daniel 7. One's called great, and then the next kingdom's called exceedingly great. In what sense are they the same? Does that make them the same thing? Well, yes, in that it's the power going through time that's shifting from one country world power to the next, as the Bible says plainly, and gives the interpretation. So in that way, yes, it is. It's the power manifesting in reality that's kind of the accuser's actions in the world, in the spiritual realm.
Hey, Jamie, did the Pope cause fire to come down from heaven?
I usually interpret that as being a future event to when the head wound's healed, and the one who Jesus destroys that is coming.
Okay,
I think that's the papacy getting its power back. So that could be some event, but it could be several.
But so Jamie, have there been anybody have we seen fire come down from heaven yet? Have we ever seen that?
I think that imagery comes from when he calls down, like in the Old Testament, when remember they're like trying to whose God will bring down fire are, and like what's that story again? It's,
wait. Let me ask you something. So fire kills, correct? Fire can kill people.
I would say fire is God's judgment, which sometimes is a cleansing element, but usually judgment and destruction.
But okay, so can God use men to judge, to kill, or to judge other people?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Can I chime in on this real quick? Just to add,
I just want to finish this real quick. So with Jamie, so you're saying, because last time I checked, humanity has seen fire come down from heaven.
Yeah, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's what I was about to mention. We already seen that.
Nuclear missiles. You have to think, during the time of the prophets or during the time of the apostles, they didn't have airplanes. They never saw a human being shoot a missile from heaven, from the sky, which Genesis tells you that God created the fowls of the heaven. So it's letting you know that the sky is also considered heaven, that the birds fly in. Last time I checked, the last time we saw human beings send fire from heaven was during World War II, when they dropped a nuke and a whole.
It was a atomic weapon.
I just want to ask, how would a prophet describe a nuclear missile in the Bible?
Right, like the scroll flying through the air, sort of thing too. And so here's what I'd say from my study. I would just say this. I would say that's not necessarily, couldn't be that, but if you carefully, so I'm not trying to disagree with you necessarily. I'm not saying that couldn't be, but I would say you'd want to be careful to not insist that it had to be that, only because God gives us like prophetical timelines. And then, so here's the problem with there's two options in the Old Testament. And people tend to do it where they look at these prophecies and then they think of our present time. Usually prophecies have to make sense to the people who originally received it, and there's some deeper thing. Like, not that a nuclear bomb couldn't be a fulfillment of that, but I think just because it's a great thing in our mind doesn't mean it's necessarily that. You want to look at the Bible and say, well, is there examples in the Bible where fire came down to heaven? Well, yes, it's in God's judgment is usually what that's doing, or God showing that he's the true God. So it's a display of his sovereignty in a particular circumstance.
Yo, Jamie, let me chime in real quick, not to cut you off, but I wanted to add when you guys talked about the nuclear weapons, like a good example, say for instance, was that Psalms 9:5, right? Says for every battle of the warrior will be fought with
Isaiah.
screaming and
Isaiah.
Isaiah 9:5, excuse me, says every battle of the warriors fought with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but this battle will be fought with burning and fuel of fire. Then another good one is if you read what is that, 2 Peter chapter 3, start at 10 on down, talks about there coming a day in the future when the heavens are going to vanish away. There's going to be smoke and the elements will melt with fervent heat. Those are a couple of precepts that refer to it. And then another one in Revelation, it talks about that the beast would burn the whore, right? So if these are nations, how's one nation going to burn another nation? Obviously,
Because
it happens by these weapons that they have stockpiled. That's how nations, fight a conflict in modern
and here's
times.
the thing also too, before you answer, Jamie, we're building this, we're coming to this conclusion based off of the Old Testament scriptures, based off of Daniel. So Daniel, before there was a revelation, before there was John the Revelator, we had Daniel. And Daniel told us that there will be 4 empires, but he didn't call them empires. The same way how Jesus kind of calls us plants or fig trees, Daniel calls these empires beasts. So when you finally get to the revelation, John is revealing who these beasts are that the prophets were talking about. And these beasts represent empires and governments. So if these empires and governments are causing fire to come down from heaven, then that means, okay, how did the governments cause fire to come down from heaven? The only answer is nuclear missiles and airplanes.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, I think we can't be sure, but it seems to me so what I see that connecting to biblically probably is like in 2 Thessalonians 2, right? Paul talks about, it's really interesting because it says the strong delusion is both said to be by this figure, it's the lawless one, who's obviously the one from Daniel 7, which is the little horn, which is this one we're talking about from Revelation. I would assume you believe that too. And so when Paul talks about whom Jesus will destroy with the brightness of his coming and the breath of his mouth in the day of the Lord, right? So I would say that is what that guy does is he deceives those who did not love the truth because they believe a lie. And it says he comes by the working of the lawless one in the workings of Satan. And then it says God sends that strong delusion. So in some sense, God is allowing it, or he's wanting this to happen as a final event to kind of separate the unfaithful from the unfaithful. And so the ones that didn't love the truth are fooled by this. So I usually think the fire from heaven is something God did to prove he's truly God. And it warns that they're going to have false signs and false wonders so that even the elect might be deceived. So when it says the beast does this, it's going to fool people who don't love the truth because they're going to think it's God doing it in that sense, so that they believe this power that's a false Christ, right? So it's like God's allowing it, right? But they because they don't love the truth, when the beast does it, they believe his lie that God allows to happen or that God sends for the purpose of judging them because they didn't love the truth. So it's the work of God, but it's also the work of Satan who opposes God, and God allows it. So I think it's whatever it is, it seems to be a thing that helps fool people into cementing them in their worshiping of the beast, who's an antichrist or in place of Christ. And so that's how.
Here's the crazy part. Here's the crazy part. I'm gonna let ETT because he's got something on the screen that he wants to show, but I will.
That's Jamie's.
That's actually me. I was just pulling it up.
Okay, Jamie. Okay, Jamie.
Daniel and Revelation next to each other.
Beautiful. So not you're in Belshazzar's feast in Daniel. We need you to go to either chapter 2, but mainly we want you to go to chapter 7. That's the main chapter. I don't know why you went to chapter 5 in Daniel, but this is what I will say.
That was an accident. Daniel 7 and Revelation 13.
Yeah, I got you. If you ever get the time, I want you to look at Candace Owens. You already know who Candace Owens might be. If you don't,
I have a
look
crush
her
on
up.
her, actually.
Yeah, she's very beautiful. She's a very beautiful woman. She's a married woman. But here's the point: is that you realize the people that came up with the nuclear bomb, they're said to be Satanists, right? So that would prove that the dragon gave the beast its power.
By the way, to be clear, I'm not saying I would steal somebody's wife. I'm just saying I have an internet crush. I think she's really cool, and I think she's, a good-looking person.
Well, the point is, the people that created the nuclear bomb, they didn't get that out of osmosis. They were dealing with the occult rituals, and they were Luciferians, and they were they were Satanists.
Are you talking about Jack Parsons?
Jack Parsons.
I believe that might be his name, right?
That rocket scientist that worked at NASA that was friends with Crowley and
correct.
Ron
Yeah,
Hubbard.
Exactly. So when the Bible talks about the dragon gave the beast his power, it's talking about its weaponry, because we understand that the beast is talking about governments, empires, right? The beast is the beast are empires and kingdoms. The dragon, sometimes the dragon is considered Esau, but in this context, which we're going through Revelation 13, it says, "Then I stood." I'm looking at your screen. "Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising out of the sea." So in Revelation 13, the sea is just talking about people, the multitudes of people. So a beast or a empire, right? Because of Daniel tells us that a beast is considered an empire. So he saw an empire rise out of the people, having 7 heads and 10 horns. These 7 heads come from the beast, which would be, you could say, England, France, Italy, etc. Right?
The 7 countries that became European.
On his horns, 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now the beast, verse 2. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. We see in the vision of Daniel the third beast, which were the Grecians. Alexander wore a leopard hat. The third beast in the vision of Daniel represented the kingdom of the Greeks. So we see a beast have an element of the Grecians, right? That's why you have something called democracy, right? A senate. Now, the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like of a bear. So the Persian, when you go through the Persian Empire, they had something called presidents.
Hey, Az, let me comment real quick. Hey Jay, can you hear me?
Correct.
Okay, Jay, I got to drop. Are you able to continue to stream for a little bit to let them chat and then end it when you log off?
Yeah, I got about a half an hour. I believe.
All right, cool.
Or maybe shorter.
Cool. I'm gonna drop, but you can continue. Just end the stream when you guys are done. All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, by the way, I agree with you.
Appreciate it.
Entirely.
Hey, thank you, Yasha. Hey, thank you, bro.
That's cool. You guys can continue.
Okay, so just to continue. So this beast, essentially, this beast is just an amalgamation of all the other empires, but it's the fourth beast, right?
Are you watching Seventh-day Adventist teaching? Because you're saying exactly the same stuff. Sorry, go ahead. I'm just joking.
Yeah. So basically, you have verse 3. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard, the Greco-Roman Empire, the Greeks. His feet were like the feet of a bear, like the Persian Empire. The Persian Empire had presidents. right?
Like
The
means
Greek,
it's not the same one, but it's got its attributes.
right. So it's just saying that this beast has it's amalgamated all of these attributes of these other empires, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. In the vision of Daniel, the first beast, which was Babylon, was a lion with wings. So we see it still has Babylonian worship or a Babylonian type, an archetype, right? It says the
But you can
dragon
you can go
gave
into
him.
detail. Can I add something real quick, just to point out, see if you think it's right. But that's absolutely right, and I think that's a tie into the idea that what happens in Daniel during the Babylonian Empire, right? The Daniel and Lion's Den. What did he tell him to do? Worship the golden statue. So it's worship that to not worship the true God, and Daniel wouldn't do it, right? And he gets arrested and he gets thrown into the lion's den. What did they do? They made a civil law that you had to worship a particular false god, and Daniel was kept. The three friends of Daniel, right, go through the fire and they're kept safe because there's one there with them, because they wouldn't do the things God said not to do, and God protected them through the adversary. And think he speaks, and so what does he do? He speaks like the Babylonian power did, right? He tries to make people worship the beast. This is the connection to the final conflict, I think, before the Messiah returns. So go
But
ahead.
the point is that John is describing the fourth beast that Daniel wrote about. Daniel just says, so now let's go to Daniel chapter 7 real quick.
Okay,
You got
we're
Daniel chapter 7.
I'll make it.
Yeah, it's on the left. So we'll just skim past it just real quick. Start at verse 1. I'm gonna skim past it really quick. I'm gonna hit the main parts. So in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and his visions of his head while on his bed. Then he wrote down the dream, telling the main facts. Verse 2. Daniel spoke, saying, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea, and four great beasts came up from the sea, each different from the other. The first beast was like a lion. On the left of your screen, or on the right of your screen, it mentions a lion, right? It mentions a lion right there, a mouth of a lion, right? Now, back to Daniel, okay? It says he had the mouth, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. Let's go to verse 5 in the book of Daniel. Let's go to verse 5. Boom. And suddenly another beast. So we have a second beast, right? Like a bear. We see the same thing in Revelation 13. Where's the bear at? Boom. The feet of a bear. What are we showing? Is that this final empire would follow all of these previous empires and make it into one, right? That's why we say that this beast is talking about America, or not America, but this modern kingdom, right? Let's look at Daniel again. Let's look at verse 6. Daniel, verse 6.
Hold on, I'm having a moment here. I can't get the same damn color, and I want it to be the same color. Hold on.
Just to let you guys know, I got about 25 minutes, and I gotta get
All right.
going.
All right.
Okay,
The
where
first
do you wanna go?
beast. Yeah, so the first beast was like a lion. The second beast is like a bear. The third beast, Daniel chapter 7 and verse 6. Go ahead and scroll down, verse 6. Verse 6. After this, I looked, and there was another like a leopard. Do we see a leopard in Revelation 13? Revelation 13 on the right. It should be right there above the bear. You see that? Leopard. Boom. So now we look at verse 7. Verse 7. In Daniel chapter 7, it says, and after this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast, right? The final beast. a dreadful and terrible, exceedingly strong. The point is that it's not described as to what this beast looks like. We don't know if it looks like a platypus, a badger, a duck. We don't know. But in Revelation 13, it tells us that it's an amalgamation. So what I want to do is I want to go back up in Revelation 13 and 1. Let's look at Revelation 13 all over again. So John is describing the fourth beast. This fourth beast that is dreadful and terrible. And what John is saying is that this fourth beast, which is Rome, then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, Rome, and on his head and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now, what is this blasphemous name? There is no God, right? Blasphemy meaning that you can commit all these crimes in the earth and not fear any repercussions. Verse 2, Revelation 13 and verse 2. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard. His feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. So it incorporated the kingdom of the Greeks. It incorporated the kingdom of the Persians, and it incorporated the kingdom of the Babylonians. Revelation 13 and verse 3. And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded. This is talking about the ancient Roman Empire, right? That ancient Rome, it fell for a time. It was rebirthed, hence the Renaissance. It says, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the earth marveled and followed the beast. So the beast is the fourth beast, right? That is dreadful and terrible. Verse 4. So they worshiped the dragon. So we see a distinction between the dragon and the fourth beast. The whole reason why we're reading this is to show you that it was Satan. Satan is the dragon. On the left-hand side, go ahead and pull up Revelation chapter 12. On the left-hand side, pull up Revelation chapter 12. The right-hand side is good. The left-hand side, just pull up Revelation 12 to explain who the dragon is. Okay, there it is. Okay, so we see a dragon. Keep going. Okay, there it is. And war broke out. So Revelation 12 and 7 to explain the dragon. And war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon with his angels fought. But they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan. So when we go back to Revelation 13, it says, so they worship the dragon, which is the devil and Satan, which goes back to my point that when we look at the nuclear weapons, when we look at the guy who worked for NASA, right? It is a known fact that these people were Satanists, Luciferians. They didn't get their technology without worshiping Satan.
Can I add something to that real quick?
This is biblical history right here.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Hold on. How do I? Oh, there we go. You mentioned Jack. The guy that worked at NASA, Jack Parsons. You mentioned ago that they were occultists. They really were. They really were occultists. Jack Parsons, before he worked at NASA, or I think during his time when he worked there as well, he was friends with the dude that founded Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, and then a lot of them had connections back to Aleister Crowley. There's like a movement here in this country that is based off of that. Even like even the founding fathers, they had ties to stuff like that.
And it is the spirit of the Antichrist because I would connect the spirit of the Gnostics in the early church historically and in the New Testament, as well as how that connects to the man of lawlessness in 2 Thessalonians 2 that Paul mentions, which is connected to what we've been talking about, this final beast that has the power of Satan or whatever, the dragon, who gives him power. That also is, they're lawless, right? Here's a really interesting thing that you may not know, is that, do you know, Aleister Crowley had these visions and stuff, and he's claimed to channel this message, and he wrote the Book of the Law, which is, basically do whatever you want, which is what most Christians believe, and it's kind of freaky.
Yeah, I just purchased that not too long ago. I'm waiting for it to be delivered.
And you know what's so crazy? You know what's so crazy about that? That the reason why it falls under democracy. It falls under, you can do what you want. You can do whatever you want. You're free. You're liberal. See, that's the thing. The dragon. So when you go into Revelation 13, which we haven't gone to, there's another beast that rises up out of the earth that has two horns like a lamb, but speaks as a dragon. So when you read the Bible, right? When you read the Bible, according to my understanding, Daniel, when he receives his vision, he just sees four beasts, right? And then he sees in the fourth beast, he doesn't know what it necessarily is, but he just says it's very scary, it's dreadful, and it has a horn that speaks great blasphemies. So in Daniel's vision, he sees the horn. He just sees a horn. John, he doesn't see a horn. He sees a woman, right? So my whole point is that
I think this is where we slightly diverge, but I want to hear what you think.
Yeah,
a little bit, not a lot, but there's a connection. But I have a slightly different view, but it's related.
So basically, they're both seeing the same vision, right? They're seeing the same thing. The Father's just giving it to them in different ways. So basically,
John is obviously thinking of Daniel 7 when he's writing Revelation 13. There's no doubt. He's literally using it as a reference, I would say. But he's also getting a vision. So that's how I describe it. But yeah.
So, but also Daniel, he'll call it a woman in one chapter, but in another chapter, he'll call it a beast rising up out of the earth, having two horns, and it speaks as a dragon.
Right.
So
lamb
in the same book, like what I'm trying to say is in the same book, he'll call it a woman in the book of Revelation. He'll call it a woman, but then in Revelation 13, he'll call it a beast with two horns like a lamb and spake as a dragon. And it was this one. I don't know if you can pull it up, but it's this beast, this whore.
It's being shared, but if you have to put it on up there, I can't do it.
Okay. But it's this whore, it's this beast that had two horns like a lamb in Revelation 13 and spake as a dragon. This is the same one that caused fire to come down from heaven in the sight of men.
You could pull it up. I shared the screen.
Okay, Revelation 13. It might be 13. Revelation 13 and 13 it might be. 13 and 12 or Revelation 13 and... Okay, there, the beast from the earth. You see it right there on the right. It says the beast from the earth. You see it? Okay. So then it says, then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth. So the first beast came out of the sea. This beast comes out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. How we understand this is that this lamb, these two horns represent two principalities or two types of governance.
Two powers.
But these two powers are a part of one body, right? So meaning that we have in America, you have Republican and Democrat. In the history of America, you've never seen any other party elected. You've only seen these two parties elected. So this empire has two different sides. right?
So
And
I
they
would say it's
both fight
apostate.
for
I think it's
power.
apostate Christianity and then government. But yeah, it's the right idea, I think.
Well,
What
we
you're
understand it to be Democrat and Republican. Had two horns like a lamb. So like a lamb, what is the Bible trying to say? Is that a lamb is soft, it's tender. You would never like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? A lamb represents something soft. So what is it that is soft? It's talking about, oh, democracy, oh, freedom to do
It says
whatever
what
you
you want to
want,
hear, but it has different intentions, basically.
right? And spoke like a dragon. So in Iraq, they try to promote liberalism. They try to promote freedom, but in Iraq, they don't want gays. In America says, well, if you don't want freedom for gays, we're gonna bomb you. We're gonna kill you. So that's how it has two horns like a lamb and speaks like a dragon, because dragons have fire, have power, right? And
It's speaking for Satan. It's really working for Satan.
right. But it says this beast. It says it says that this beast spoke like a dragon. So this is, in our understanding, this is talking about America here. And he exercises all the authority.
The land beast is America.
This beast that I'm reading right here, we believe that this is talking about America.
It is.
Okay. So it says verse
23 to consider real fast. The idea of the beast on the land and the beast in the sea seems to have some connection to Behemoth, which was the beast on the land, and Leviathan. Not to say other interpretations of what that means when it's used in the Old Testament. Some people think it means it's talking about like sort of dinosaur or something. I don't care. Maybe that's true, but there's theology there. The land beast is a power that has certain attributes described in the Old Testament. I think there's a connection. And the sea beast seems to have connection with what? Well, I think that the sea beast is something to do with Satan, because that's kind of like the dragon, right, in the sea. And it swims in the seas of the kind of within the people, right? It manifests through people doing the bidding of Satan. Something to consider. So there seems to be some idea there with the symbolism. But go ahead.
Yeah, so but basically how you understand the Bible is that Daniel said there's only 4. So if Daniel says that there's 4 beasts and John says that there's like 5 and 6, who are you gonna go with? You know what I'm saying? You have to go with Daniel. Hold on, bro. Let me just explain.
Where are you seeing 5 and 6 of it? Where are you getting?
What I'm saying, because let's just say 5. Let's just say the book of Daniel says there's only 4. The book of Revelation, you would see, according to Daniel, there should be another beast, but there isn't. So how you understand this? Hold on. How you understand this vision is that there's only a total of 4. All that John is trying to tell you is how this 4th beast has divided itself. Right. And Daniel doesn't mention a woman. John does. Right? Daniel doesn't mention another beast with 2 horns like a lamb and speaking like a dragon, but John does. But Daniel's not telling Daniel's telling the truth. So if Daniel says that there's only 4, then that's what the Bible is trying to tell you. There's only 4. So all these beasts that you read about after the 4th one, it's all pertaining to Rome. This is all pertaining to the same beast, because Daniel's not a liar. So
because of Daniel 2 lays out the framework for it. It's 4 powers, and then the next true power that takes over is what God sends from heaven, and it fills the whole earth. And that's the everlasting.
Correct, but there's only 4. There's only 4 beasts according to Daniel 7. So if you understand that, When you're in John,
Yeah, that's a recapitulation of Daniel 2, basically, with more detail. But yeah,
if
I
you're
agree.
if you're reading the book of Revelation, and John is telling you that there's another beast that rises up out of the earth. There's not 5 beasts, there's only 4. So let's just keep reading, right? So we're talking about America. It says, then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth and had 2 horns like a lamb. The 2 horns like a lamb is talking about Republican and Democrat, and spake like a dragon, meaning what? It has military might, it has weaponry, it has guns, it can take over your country if you disagree with them. It says, and he
So you're saying
exercises
Reagan
all
is
the
American?
hold on, dude. It says,
I'm just trying
and
to
he
clarify what you're saying.
I get it, but hold on, just let me wait till I'm done. And he exercises all the authority of the first beast in his presence. So the first beast would be Rome, right? Europe.
Yes.
But this beast, that's what America does. America exercises all of its authority in front of the Europeans, right? It says, and
It's the world
causes
power. It's the world power.
and
Like
causes
first
the
power.
earth. It says, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast. The first beast, which would be Rome. It says, whose deadly wound was healed. That's how we know it's talking about Rome, because Rome was destroyed, but it rebuilt itself. It came back. Now, verse 13 is the point. Let's go ahead and scroll up. Verse 13. All right, cool. Verse 13. It says,
So
he
I don't know how to
performs,
scroll it up. I just got to read it, and then that'll raise it up, right?
yeah, Revelation 13 and 13. He performs great signs so that he even makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. So show me what empire. You have to show me in history what empire caused fire to come down from the sky.
I agree with most of what you're saying. I would just say the Roman. So is what it's just. You're right. There's 4 kingdoms. That's it. Daniel 2 lays it out. Daniel 7 gives more detail, and I would say John picks up on this and he continues historically. Daniel only goes up until explaining Daniel 7 kind of describes this beast that comes from Rome. I would argue that it's the civil power that the Roman Church become it, when pagan Rome dies, it splits into the European nations, right? The 7 heads and 10 horns. The papacy is an apostate church. The beast is Rome, the country, the power, and then the woman is kind of this apostate church, and she rides the power of that nation of Rome. And so is what this is describing, similar to what you're saying, very much in line with what you're saying. I would say in line with my idea about the woman being either a faithful bride or faithful to God or unfaithful. Well, the Roman church comes out of what Jesus establishes. It just goes bad, right? And then it goes really bad because it merges with the governmental power of Rome, kind of takes over the European nations, and she takes out 3 of the countries of the 10, the European nations, and then she kills a bunch of people she considers heretics and all that, and she killed tons of people during that time period. And then that was in 538 that Rome seizes power. So I take the 1260 to be years, like 490 weeks. Sorry, I won't go into too much detail here. But my point is, she loses her power in 1798, which is exactly 1260 years after she seized civil power and took out 3 of the 10. Okay, those become the European nations down to our time, right? So this is where we kind of agree too. And now I would say the first beast is the Roman beast, the thing that comes out of Rome. And so this lamb beast is America, because she becomes the world power. So she has the power. She's the world power now, right? And that's America, obviously.
Okay. So wait. Slow down.
Yeah.
So you said America is the land beast, which is the
Right.
beast in Revelation 13 that came out of the earth.
The land. Yep.
Okay.
And I would actually
So now it's saying that America is this beast that came out of the earth.
Yes.
Now, when we look at it, verse 13.
Yeah.
It says he performs great signs. So we're talking about America.
So I would say, yeah. So I would say there's a sense it is because she gives the civil power, which is what America represents, right? She's like the governing power of the earth. She's the leader, and is when it says the deadly head wound is the deadly head wound was when the Roman Church lost its civil power in 1798, and then like all the things you were describing, like the French Revolution, all that, and the Great Awakening, or the Great, when people went secular, basically, like France and all that. I would say that was born out of Rome's losing its civil power when Napoleon took the Pope off of the throne, basically, and threw him in the dungeon. And then there's that great.
The point is that, like, bro, listen. There are beasts. There are beasts, and then there's the false prophet.
Right.
So you have a whole country. You have a country, right? The Vatican itself is its own country, right? Then you have another empire, which came out of the earth. It's the horn that spoke great blasphemies. It is the woman. The false prophet is the false prophet. But let's look at Revelation 13, bro, and verse 13. Let's look at verse 13 and verse 11. It says, then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. This is America.
I agree.
And he exercises
speaking like a lamb because it did religious freedom when its founding, but then it ends up doing the bidding of Satan when it gives power to the beast that came out of Rome. It gives her power back. And then she, being a woman,
according to Daniel, when we say beasts, the beasts are kingdoms or empires, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's saying, then I saw another empire. This is Revelation 13:11. Then I saw another empire or kingdom come out of the earth. All right, it's not talking about the Pope. It's talking about a kingdom or an empire, and had two horns like a lamb. Okay, so now we jump to verse 13. He performs great signs. So who's the he here? It's talking about America.
Well, there's two options. There's the first beast, and then who is the deadly head wound? Who has a deadly head wound?
No. Look. Just look on the page. All you have to do is look on the page. Look on the page, and you'll see that the he is the same he in verse 11. Then I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. So
hey guys, just to let you know, I got about 5 or 6 minutes. I got stuff to do.
Okay, thank you.
But you can keep going until.
Well, let me just say
we'll be done. We'll be done in a second because I'm about to close it right here. So
the antecedent could be either, like linguistic.
It's not either. It's talking about one thing.
Well,
Oh.
What happened?
I don't know what happened.
Okay, he fell off. So that's what the Lord wanted.
Well, no, it doesn't show any of you guys on screen. Do you see that, or is it just on my end?
No, I see the planet that the Lord made, the firmament.
That's really weird because it still shows him backstage. Or no, he's right here. It's just like we all disappeared off the screen. That's interesting. But you guys are still here. There you go. You still here, Jamie Russell? No, he left. Oh, that might have been it then, because he had his window on, and I think he fell out. Are you still here, Az?
Yeah, I'm here, bro. Um,
Do
just go ahead.
you,
I'll conclude it right here, so we can
all right.
conclude it. Okay, so the beast from the earth. So he admitted that this is talking about America. The whole reason why we're talking about this is because the dragon gave the beast its power. And I was just trying to explain that the whole reason why America got nukes is
Oh, hold on. Let
because
me respond to this real quick. Jamie Russell, you did not get kicked. It showed that you left. You're welcome to come back up, but I mean, I'm closing out in a second. But go ahead.
yeah. So basically, I'm just showing that the dragon gave the fourth beast its power, and I'm showing that during like the early 1900s, you had men who worked for NASA who were Satanists, and the only reason why they got the understanding that they got was because they got it from Satan himself. Satan was the one who gave America its understanding of nuclear missiles, of atoms, splitting atoms, colliding atoms. That information, that's witchcraft. In the ancient days, how do you split an atom? How do you do that? How do you split molecules? Right? Satan gave them that understanding. And I'm proving that with the Bible right here. Okay, Revelation 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb and spake like a dragon. Verse 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast. The first beast is Rome before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. So when you look at America, America branched off of its counterparts in the East, and they established their own empire, but they established it based off of Rome. That's why you have a Senate, right? A Senate that goes back to ancient Rome, right? It says, whose deadly wound was healed, right? Rome fell, but it came back, it revived. Verse 13, Revelation 13:13, this is where we left off. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. So where we left off is, who is the he? And he doeth great wonders. The he is the beast from the earth. That's the he. So if the beast is the American empire, then that coincides with Nagasaki and Hiroshima. When America, you had Satanists who got the understanding of how to make nukes, hydrogen bombs, and they dropped fire. That's what a missile is. It's fire encapsulated in a capsule. They dropped a fire from a capsule from an airplane, and it nuked the whole country. And after they nuked Hiroshima and Nagasaki, nobody ever dared challenge them. Nobody ever stood up and tried to challenge them and go face to face like that. That's why America is on top of the world. America runs the world today because they dropped a nuclear missile, which the prophet foresaw, because the beast that came out of the earth is talking about an empire. Verse 13, he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of who? In the sight of men. So I'll leave it there. Going back to the foundation of this country, the people who founded this country, they didn't necessarily believe in the God of the Bible. They were called theists, right? Theists. You can look it up, okay? And I'm gonna stop sharing. Um, and they were Freemasons. Freemasons. They followed Kabbalah. They were into sorcery and witchcraft, right? So when the Bible says that the dragon gave the beast its power, that's literally what it means. These people are Satanists, and the fire that came down from heaven were nuclear weapons. Okay, and I land my plane there. Thank you for having me, Mr. J.
No
I
problem.
hope, I hope that was enlightening, and hopefully I can see you again.
All right. Talk to y'all later. As
All right,
ETT
later,
would
man.
say, shalom.
Hey, shalom.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks for watching. Catch y'all later, and subscribe to End Time Teacher. Peace out. Or shalom.